What's new from Apple? There's the new iPhone 16 Pro, built for Apple Intelligence. And it comes with the all-new camera control, giving you an easier way to quickly access your camera tools. The new Apple Watch Series 10 has our biggest display and our thinnest design ever. And this? It's the sound of active noise cancellation, now available on one of 2 new AirPods 4 models. So quiet. Check out all of the new products and new features at apple.com. You can even buy yourself something new. See apple.com for product availability updates. Apple Intelligence coming this fall.
Earning your degree online doesn't mean you have to go about it alone. At Capella University, we're here to support you when you're ready. From enrollment counselors who get to know you and your goals, to academic coaches who can help you form a plan to stay on track. We care about your success and are dedicated to helping you pursue your goals. Going back to school is a big step, but having support at every step of your academic journey can make a big difference. Imagine your future differently at capella.edu.
This is what you do when you've just found that statement handbag on eBay and you want to build an entire wardrobe around it. You start selling to keep buying. Yep, on eBay. Over that all-black everything phase, list it and buy all the color. Feeling more vintage than ever? It's out with the new and in with the pre-loved. Next thing you know, you've refreshed your wardrobe basically without spending a dime. Yeah, eBay, the place to buy and sell new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion.
Why did the dust bunny fall in love with a Roomba? It was swept off its feet. What's faster than the speed of light? The speed of your dad saying, "Turn off the lights." What happened to the cat who ate a ball of yarn? She had mittens.
If you just read the bio for Dr. Steve, host of Weird Medicine on Sirius XM 103 and made popular by 2 really comedy shows, Opie and Anthony and Ron and Fez, you would have thought that this guy was a bit of, a clown.
Why can't you give me the respect that I'm entitled to?
I've got diphtheria crushing my esophagus. I've got Ebola virus dripping from my nose. I've got the leprosy of the heart valves, exacerbating my incredible woes. I want to take my brain out and blast it with the wave, an ultrasonic, echographic, and a pulsating shave. I want a magic pill for all my ailments, the health equivalent of Citizen Kane. And if I don't get it now in the tablet, I think I'm doomed and I'll have to go insane. I want a requiem for my disease. So I'm paging Dr. Steve. Dr. Steve.
From the world-famous Cardiff Electric Network studios, it's Weird Medicine, the first and still only uncensored medical show in the history of broadcast radio, now a podcast. I'm Dr. Steve with my little pal, Dr. Scott, and and Tacie.
Yeah, whatever.
Dr. Scott is a traditional...
Hi, everyone.
It's a traditional Chinese medical practitioner who gives me street cred with the whack alternative medicine assholes. And Tacie is my partner in all things. Hello, Tacie.
Yeah.
What? What's going on? This is a show for people who never listened to a medical show on the radio or the internet. If you got a question you're embarrassed to take to your regular medical provider, if you can't find an answer anywhere else, give us a call, 347-766-4323. That's 347-POOHEAD. Follow us on Twitter at Weird Medicine or at DRScottWM. Visit our website at drsteve.com for podcasts, medical news, and stuff you can buy. Most importantly, we are not your medical providers. Take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Don't act on anything you hear on this show without talking it over with your healthcare provider. Please don't forget stuff.drsteve.com, stuff.drsteve.com for all of your shopping needs. I checked out the link. It still works. And I took off some stuff that was, just broken links and stuff in there. So go check it out. Stuff.drsteve.com. You can still get pre-order on the Roadie Coach.
Okay.
ROADIE Coach. And so it's roadie.drsteve.com, or you can just go to stuff.drsteve, scroll down and look at it. The Roadie Coach is not a tuner this time, but something that will teach you how to play your instrument. So...
if it's going to help me, it better be really good.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. They're sending us one. I thought it would be better for you to have it than for me. So we'll try it.
I need help.
And then check out Dr. Scott's website at simplyherbals.net and check out Tacie and me at patreon.com/weirdmedicine. It's
Absolutely.
all different content, all fun content. It's all Tacie giving me down the road for saying this, that, or the other. It's fun. It is fun. It's a good show. And 100% of your phone calls that are sent to the Patreon address get addressed on the Patreon show. So that's patreon.com/weirdmedicine. And I did a couple of cameos for Father's Day. I'll do whatever. I don't care. It's $5. Who cares? It's basically nothing, and I get 3 of that. Thank you. But it all goes toward ham radio, and I'll say whatever you want. I'll say fluid to your mama or, whatever. So one person.
It's all about the daddy this weekend.
That's right. But one person wanted me to tell his dad to make sure he got another cystoscopy, and I said, yeah. Make sure that you have this tube jammed up there so you can feel like you're pissing razor blades for a week. So that was a little bit of a personal one for Dr. Scott and me. But anyway.
Yep.
All right. You got anything else?
Nope.
Let's get into it. Don't forget to check out Dr. Scott's website at simplyherbals.net. That's simplyherbals.net. I think somebody hijacked your URL last week.
Oh, wow.
Because I would go to simplyherbals.net, and it took me to something called Simply Herbal Naturals. Do you know those people?
No.
Are they the ones that tried to sue you?
No. But I got on there after you did. I think.
And then it was fine.
Yeah, it was fine. Yeah.
But it was. I did it on several different computers, and they were doing a redirect to the wrong Simply Herbals. So if anybody had a problem with that, try it again. It seems to be fixed.
Yes, please.
All right.
Yeah,
very
thanks,
good.
Dr. Steve.
Okay. Tacie, you have some topics?
Of course I do.
Oh, I do. Oh, don't say of course I do.
It's Tacie's time of topics. A time for Tacie to discuss topics of the day. Not to be confused with Topic Time with Harrison Young, which is copyrighted by Harrison Young and Area 58 Public Access. And now, here's Tacie.
Well, hello, everyone. First of all,
Hello.
fucking gun class today.
Oh, yeah, we should probably talk about that.
I now have an enhanced gun carry permit
Yes, you do.
and hate, H-A-T-E, guns. Hate them.
Do you?
To the point
Or you're
where
just
I
scared of it?
almost
You just don't know how to do it.
cried during the part where we were shooting. And I thought I failed the test, which, by the way, if you ever want to get a gun, Tennessee wants you to have one.
They certainly do.
Because it could not be easier.
The distractors.
Listen.
One of the distractors, it said, what was that thing? It said, what is this thing, this license that you're going for called? And one of the distractors was correct, which was Tennessee Advanced, carry permit or whatever. And then one of the distractors was concealed machine gun permit. And, they said that some people have failed the test, but I don't know how in the world they could possibly do that unless they just didn't speak English and they were just doing it at random.
Yeah.
Well,
They do want you to have it, don't they?
Yes, they
it
do.
was the very least fun I've had in a very long time.
Okay, why did you do it?
I did it for Father's Day for Steve.
Thank you.
We'd been talking about it for over 20 years. Had I done it a long time ago, I probably wouldn't have gotten so upset, but I was just, in a way, today, I guess.
One thing you don't like is to not feel fully, able to display your full aspect. In other words, you don't like it when you're put in a situation where you don't exactly know how to do something.
Didn't know how to do not a fucking thing.
So, but now you came out of there. The instructor was very patient with her. You have to shoot 50 rounds, 20 at 5, 20 at 10, no, 20 at 7. No, 3, 5, and 7 is what it is. It's yards. So 9 feet, 15 feet, and 21 feet. And he had a like a Ruger 22 pistol. And she learned how to load the magazine, which I didn't realize you didn't know how to do.
Nope, didn't know how to do it.
Putting the bullets in backwards, standing straight up, all kinds of stuff. But you got it by the fifth magazine. You got it, and then how to shoot. And she beat some people in shooting that were there that had done it a bunch. So.
Which is funny because I have not shaken like that in a million years.
Yeah.
I was
nervous.
Well, you hadn't had any wine yet, too. So.
I had a physician once tell me, one of my favorite physicians, and he said,
What?
there are gun people and there are not gun people.
Yep.
And that could not be further from the truth.
Couldn't be further from the truth?
It could not.
It
No,
was true.
it is so true.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
No, I'm just.
So,
I want
anyway.
to understand. I thought all of a sudden that meant that you were.
No.
a big fan.
No. That's just what I normally would say after I said a statement like that. But so.
I think there are people who are afraid to handle a firearm. They should have respect for it, and then other people who have done it some and they find they're more comfortable with it and they found it fun.
Well,
and those two groups the one can become the other.
Well, I think that you are part of this little group that likes to. I like that popping of the P. That likes to bully us non-gun
What?
people into becoming gun people, and some people are not gun people.
Oh, you feel bullied.
And I am so sick of some of my friends telling me, you just need to get used to it. You need to know how to defend yourself. Well, what if I can't? Can I not do it in another way other than
you can.
blowing a hole through
One
somebody?
of the things that he talked about was using pepper gel, and not he ruled out. He said if you're not going to use a gun, don't use pepper spray.
Right.
It disperses and stuff. And don't use wasp spray, because a lot of the people there were like, well, we use wasp spray. And he said, well, that's actually considered a poison. Wasp spray is
deadly weapon.
Neurotoxic.
It's neurotoxic. It blocks the muscle junctions. It's a phospho whatever. I can't remember. It's a phosphorus containing blockade of acetylcholine receptors.
Oh.
And so it actually blocks the. Now I don't remember the mechanism of it.
Anyway, that and a baseball
I have
bat, while he's looking at it,
and
are
the baseball
considered deadly weapons, and you cannot use deadly force. And they spent half the class telling you when you could not use a gun, and I just thought, well, fuck, I'm not. I just got. So if you see me coming, I've got the permit.
Yep.
Probably not going to have the device, but I will have some gel pepper spray because, I do understand that is necessary now, and I did not before.
Yeah, here we go. Organophosphates. I knew that. I'm just getting old, and it's been a long time since I've dealt with that.
So I will get you. I just won't get you with a bullet.
Yeah, so we learned something.
Yeah.
And you won't ever have to do it again.
No.
And thank you for the best Father's Day ever, I guess.
Hey, they've got a couple good
welcome.
suggestions. Some, I think DP and the man are saying definitely some jiu-jitsu classes. I'm thinking
Sure.
Krav Maga classes.
Yeah, Krav Maga. I like that.
She'd be
just
whipping
because-
some ass.
Because they said that, they talked about the definition of deadly weapon, and hands can be deadly weapons in not just martial arts, but if you got a big giant guy with big ham hands.
Oh gosh, yeah. Crack in the
Yeah, my
cranium.
hands are not deadly weapons, but
No, but you could do some Israeli fighting techniques.
I would
on the
like to
ground.
take that class. I think that would be fun.
Okay, I found what I was looking for because it was driving me crazy. The organophosphates function by inhibiting the action of acetylcholine esterase in nerve cells. So that's an enzyme that actually, modifies acetylcholine. And it's one of the most common causes of poisoning worldwide. As a matter of fact, the drug that you use to reverse it is the only truly engineered drug in the world.
Oh, wow.
In other words, they saw how far apart the acetylcholine esterase receptors were, and they designed a molecule that was exactly, down to the nanometer.
Wow.
Wide by using organic chemistry and fiddling around with it. And when you give that to people, it displaces this stuff and it allows the enzyme to work again.
But we do have wasp spray in our house for protection.
We do?
Also have a baseball bat. Yes.
We have wasp spray for protection from wasps.
No.
But what are you talking about?
In our bedroom.
That's to protect you from him, isn't it? When he gets to the wild and woolly.
Yeah. Is it? Okay, I think isn't that a big thing of pepper spray?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Oh, well,
I mean, I may be wrong.
shit. Who knows? But anyway, thank you for the.
You're welcome, because it was hell.
The best.
Yeah, those things
it
are
was
ever.
just
8
fine.
hours
It was so
of-
much fun sitting there doing this and then looking over at you, just shaking and just in abject, just anger and terror.
No, I wasn't in anger. I was not in anger at all.
Okay, ennui. Maybe it was ennui.
What is ennui?
Just up against a brick
I
wall.
was very scared, and when you told me that I had already passed, I wanted to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, she passed.
I was
with
like, then why do I need to do the rest?
You only
of
had to
this?
score a 70, and she got a 90 on the first round, so she really didn't have to shoot anymore. But you're required to shoot 50 rounds. But anyway,
but so it's done, and he was the best instructor.
Yeah, he was really good.
And of course, people showed up 30 minutes late. Don't be those kind of people. That is really freaking ridiculous.
Pissed me off. We're all just sitting there instead of starting. He's like, well, we should wait for these people. And they called, and we're a little bit late. Literally showed up 30 minutes late.
Mm-hmm.
We still got out on time. But
because the gun store was like, we're kicking you out on time. So and then at the end, he's showing us how to load all these different guns, and I'm like, whoa, it's way too much information. Anyway, it is done, and happy Father's Day.
Way to go.
Yeah,
so on to our topics.
Thank you. All right.
Topic number 1. Daily pill could cut lung cancer deaths in half.
Oh, what's
Popular
this?
Science.
Okay, what is it?
A subset of patients with early-stage lung cancer who had undergone surgery, published in the New England Journal of Medicine, brand name Tagrisso by AstraZeneca.
Yeah, I've heard of this.
The pill is directed at specific receptor that helps cancer cells grow. 682 patients with non-small cell lung cancer, which is one of the 2 lung cancers that make up to 85% of all lung cancers.
Correct.
Patients also had mutation in the epidermal growth factor receptor gene.
Yeah.
This can increase cancer's ability to grow, which can increase a patient's risk of cancer recurrence.
Yeah, so this stuff is osimertinib. It's one of these osimertinib. God, these new drugs, I have to sound them out. The monoclonal antibodies particularly. Mm-hmm. Like, it took me forever to get bevacizumab right by just looking at it, you know. But these things are kinase inhibitors, and they decrease an enzyme that that facilitates growth of the tumor. And yeah, you're right, Tace. People who took this early, looks like they had a 51% decrease in lung cancer death if they had early stage lung cancer and then took it every day for 3 years. So
now, this
amazing.
mutation is also usually in patients who didn't smoke.
Isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now we have to find the one for the people that do.
Yes.
And now that they know this works, this is the one thing. You know, people rail against big pharma, and I am a sort of a Jimmy Dore, left-leaning libertarian, I guess. But where I disagree is about having government control of pharmaceutical industry, because I think it will decrease innovation.
I think it already has.
Yeah, well, to some degree it has.
Mm-hmm.
But these kinds of things, right now, there are people with a huge profit motive. And I get it. You know, we don't want to be making money off of people's tragedy. But the profit motive does drive innovation in the sense that now that they know this does this for this one, they've just got to find the right kinase to block for the other ones. Now, there is a form of lung cancer called small cell lung cancer. And it kind of behaves like lymphoma early on in the course, in the sense that when you treat them with chemotherapy, it tends to just go away. And then it's gone, and you go, wow, you know, her scan's completely completely clear, and you think you're doing okay, and then about 12 to 18 months later, it comes back with a vengeance because the cells that were left behind are resistant to everything that you throw at it now. So we need this kind of thing for small cell lung cancer, and guaranteed, if you go to clinicaltrials.gov, they're looking at some tyrosine kinase inhibitor for small cell lung cancer. Yeah. And when we find that, and we can increase that life expectancy.
Well, now, I wondered what you would think about this. Now, 5 years after diagnosis, 88% were still alive compared to 78%
That's right.
of the placebo group.
Yes. So these are people with early stage lung cancer. So a lot of them weren't going to die anyway. Okay. So this is, again, one of those relative risk versus absolute risk things. So it looks like, the difference was about 10% in the absolute numbers.
Yeah.
78 to 68. But still, that's statistically significant.
Well, this data is the first to show how targeted treatment for early stage lung cancer can impact patient survival.
Yeah.
30 years ago, there was nothing they could do for these patients.
That's right. That's right.
It's crazy. And 30 years is like yesterday.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, it really is. When you think
Seems
about
like
it.
it. Time. 1990.
Oh, I know. It's unbelievable.
Come on now.
What?
I just graduated from high school.
92 technically, or 93.
Oh, shit.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's bizarre. It's just bizarre.
God. It's so fucking
Wake
old.
up tomorrow, it's 30 years gone by. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I just found out that if I wait 2 more years, my Social Security payment cannot go any higher, so I have to start taking it. That's how old I am.
Well.
How did that happen?
It's all a good, clean living, Dr. Steve.
God.
Good, clean living.
My life just flew by me.
Topic number 2.
Okay, sorry.
A cure for baldness.
What?
What? Would you like to speak some more on that?
No. I was saying I forgot that we were still doing topic time. I got so wound up on that. How old I am.
A dancing age.
Yes.
No, the whole 1990s thing was yesterday is something everybody our age feels.
Okay, good.
Oh, yeah.
And
well, I'm glad I'm not the only one that's miserable in their life. All right, so go ahead.
A cure for baldness.
Really?
Scientists regrow hair using stem cells, and this comes from earth.com. Follicles and stem cells harden over time, impeding their ability to sprout hair. They found a way to soften these hair follicles, stem cells, thus revitalizing their ability to produce hair. Yeah. This revolves, I've had wine because I had to shoot a gun today. This
you
revolves
shot it really well, though.
Around a tiny RNA molecule known as MIR-205. By enhancing its production, they reduced its stem cell rigidity, diminished boosting hair growth in the process. They used mice as subjects. By overproducing MIR-205, an encouraging surge in hair growth occurred. It started to sprout in 10 days.
Oh, wow.
Now, to find out if it works topically.
Yeah, that's so. Stem cell-based therapies are, stem cells are a big deal right now.
Everything that I do is about a damn stem cell.
Right. Yeah. And so what stem cells are these sort of multipotent cells that can turn into different things. When we first were developing, the egg is just kind of one big stem cell if you think about it, because it's a fertilized egg, and then it divides, and then all of a sudden these cells are no longer just cells dividing. One is the front part of this, this entity, and one is the back part, and then, some things turn into spinal cord cells, and something, I'm not going to list every single kind of cell in the body, but it's amazing. But it all stems from this sort of omnipotent or pluripotent cell.
Now, is this related to what we saved for our boys when they were born?
Sure, we did. We saved cord blood, which I actually talked to a hematologist because the boys are 18 and 20. Do we need to keep that? And they said, yeah, we could still use it for things. If they need a stem cell transplant down the road, they feel like they might be able to culture them from their cord blood and then give them their own stem cells instead of somebody else's. So that's pretty cool. But you know where they get the stem cells for this hair treatment?
No.
Fat cells.
Oh.
Yeah, so back in the day, the controversy about stem cell therapy was they were getting the stem cells from fetal blood, which were almost always due to a therapeutic or an elective abortion.
Oh, okay.
And so that people had issues with that. It's like the vaccine folks. They'll say, well, I have a religious objection to vaccines. Like, well, where does it say anything about vaccines in the Bible? It's like, no, it's because they test these things on cell lines that were developed from aborted fetuses. And so that, I can see that. I mean, they're not making any more aborted fetuses. These are cell lines that live forever, but that's where they came from, and people have a conscious objection to that. So it's like, hey, vaccine people, if you want to get rid of that, and when I say vaccine people, vaccine manufacturers, if you want to get rid of that objection, test it some other way. Jesus, just come up with and say these are aborted fetus-free vaccines. And then you may get at least a subset of people that will go, okay, well, that was my only objection to it, and do it. But anyway, in the beginning, they needed to do that. Now they've found ways that they can take already mature, differentiated cells and turn them back into stem cells. Okay. And that's what this is about.
Cool.
So it's pretty neat.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Right. So if it works topically, there may not be any bald people.
Unless they choose to be bald.
Unless they choose to be.
Now people will be just shaving their head just to be different.
Yeah. It's cool.
Okay, cool.
Topic number 3. FDA clears Beta Bionics iLet Bionic Pancreas. Steve, have you heard about this?
Oh, no, but we've been talking about bionic pancreases for quite some time.
Now, this is really cool. So this is, but it may not be what you think. It's no carb counting required.
Yeah.
It's an automated insulin delivery system that eliminates the need for carb counting.
Correct.
Type 1s, age 6 and over. It only needs to be, you only need to know your body weight, and you need to tell it if a meal is average in size or larger.
Well, P.A. John has a thing like this. It senses, so this is not implantable, though, right? This is a device,
I don't think so.
An external device.
And you gotta also give it its desired glucose target.
Sure.
Its launch date is not released yet, but he still is counting his carbs in his head.
Yes, but he has a device. He has a sensor that speaks to his insulin pump.
Yes.
And it drives him crazy because sometimes it will read low when the thing falls off, and then it's not giving him his insulin. He wakes up with an insulin of 400. Yeah. Or every once in a while it will malfunction and give him too much insulin. He ends up, so it's not perfect, but it's basically a sensor that is implanted in his skin, and then it communicates with his pump and says, hey, I need more, I need more, I need less, I need less, I need less.
Well, I guess this isn't that cool.
No. It apparently this is something different because it's all in one device. I think that's the difference.
The pump's algorithm can automatically automatically make adjustments to insulin dosing. FDA calls it a breakthrough device. They don't do that very often.
No, they don't.
During studies, patients on the iLet system spent 2.6 more hours a day in their target glucose range than others.
Okay.
1/3 used an AID system, another used a pump without AID, and remaining were on injections. So they did like what John was on.
Yep.
Injections, and then this. And 2.6 hours more in your target glucose range is pretty cool, I think.
Okay, this is pretty interesting. Yeah. So this article I'm looking at says that there are commercially available things like P.A. John has. So this is the difference. They are called hybrid closed-loop systems. They partially automate insulin delivery, but they still require significant input from users, and that's what you were talking about, where John has to put in sometimes his glucose that he took so it could preemptively decrease it, so it's not just always being reactive because there's a little bit of a delay. And it says that John would have to put in a basal rate of background insulin delivery and then insulin sensitivity factors and carbohydrate grams at each meal. So that's what you were talking about. So you're absolutely
Exactly.
right. It says, in contrast, the device tested in this study uses algorithms that determine glucose delivery based only on body weight. And so that's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, it talked about how much time patients were saving.
Yeah, and you want to see their hemoglobin A1Cs come down, which is a 3-month measure of glucose control, as glucose attaches itself to hemoglobin molecules, and those red blood cells that are transporting hemoglobin around last about 100 days, and so the amount of glucose that is attached to the hemoglobin will give you kind of a decent estimate of what your average blood sugar was. Because if you get somebody, let's say they come to your office every week at 8 a.m. and their blood sugar is perfect, but then they go and they eat donuts and stuff, and they eat pizza, and then their blood sugar is 500 the rest of the day, you're not getting a good impression of what their blood sugar is. But the hemoglobin A1C would then show you, hey, this person may have a blood sugar of 92 in your office, but their average blood sugar is 300. So what we want to see is that these people live longer with fewer adverse effects, because we're putting it on kids and getting them before their blood sugar gets so out of
6 and up,
wang dang doodle, that they have problems. Because I used to have kids that were insulin dependent diabetics, and when they'd hit 12, 13, 14, of course the hormones kick in, their blood sugar gets out of control, and then they get oppositional too. They're tired of being told what to do.
Right.
And I would just tell them, listen, there's an artificial pancreas is coming. And then we will eventually have a pancreas islet cell transplant that will actually work. Right. And so just hang in there. Don't, allow permanent damage to happen right now for that. And most of the kids would get that, Of course, I'd talk to them in their language. Man, it's like, man, hey, let's sit down and rap, man.
One more topic. And I don't know what Scott feels about this, but can taurine.
I'm glad you brought. I was going to bring this one.
Slow aging.
Yes.
By time.
I'm glad you brought this one. So taurine is an amino acid that is.
Is this your topic, Tom? Or is this
okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you. It's familiar in energy drinks.
Yes.
This paper was published June 8th in Science Researchers, and it shows taurine can slow aging in worms, mice, and monkeys.
Ooh, monkeys.
Taurine levels decline with age and can be boosted with exercise. It's not the fountain of youth, but maybe the promise that could get certain systems function better and act younger again. We make it naturally in the body, also get it there through diet by eating meat, fish, and eggs. There you go, Scott.
Tasty.
You're probably not getting any of
Fish.
Well, fish eats fish.
Lots of fish, yeah.
that. That's it. Animals just didn't live longer, but healthier.
Yay.
Supplemented mice lived on average 10 to 12% longer than old mice who didn't get it.
Well, I'm not taking it.
Needs to be verified in
Too
human
late.
studies.
It's too late.
Is your life so bad?
No,
Do I make you so miserable that you're not taking taurine?
I yearn for the
Too
peace that
late.
death will bring.
It's too late.
Somebody
what
else
if it
said
doesn't,
that.
though? Nobody knows. What if it doesn't bring you peace, Steve?
You
better just stay here.
I'm just going to tell you this right now. I'm taking taurine now after I saw this study. When I see these studies, I get the supplement. If you go to Dr. Steve or stuff.drsteve.com and scroll down, you can see the supplements that I use to really improve my peripheral neuropathy. And, when my neurologist said, oh, there's nothing you could do, I said, well, bullshit. I'm going to at least look some of this stuff up, and found things on the good data isn't great. It's pretty good data, but it's not great because no one is doing double-blind, placebo-controlled long-term studies on people with neuropathy with glutamine, because it costs like 10 cents a pill.
Yeah, with nothing to make, yeah.
Right. So they're not going to do it. So the data is decent. My results are anecdotal. but it's good enough that I can put it on, recommend it to patients. Right. And so there, the nutritional supplement industry is not just a complete horseshit. Mm-hmm. There are some supplements out there that really can help people. You see this vast wall of nutritional supplements when you go to a pharmacy like CVS or Walgreens or a natural pharmacy,
natural food store,
and they make all kinds of claims on some of these things. But if you look at the data, there are some supplements that actually do something. For peripheral neuropathy, you've got glutamine, alpha-lipoic acid, myo-inositol. For longevity, we've got phosphatidylserine.
Yes.
And now taurine.
Right.
And citrus flavonoids. So, and then there are some supplements that can help with, just all kinds of stuff. So, but I never look at the bottle that says, it helps with immune health. It's like, what does that mean? Mm-hmm. So you want to look these things up or email me, and then maybe we could have a database that says this is what these things are good for. Actually, Medscape has a decent supplement database that has, if you put in the supplement, it'll tell you what people claim it's good for and what the data shows.
Gotcha.
What do you think about all these supplements people can buy from these multimedia? Is that what you call it, multimedia? Or,
what are you talking about, Tace?
Triangle marketing scams.
Oh, like pyramid
schemes.
Yeah, pyramid schemes.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that. You're talking about, don't name any names. No. But where you could get the vitamins and stuff like that.
Well, the ones that, cure your sleep, cure your pain, make you awake during the day. Yeah. I mean, they do absolutely everything. And all you need to spend is about $300 a month.
Right. And then you get these little packs of things and stuff.
Yeah.
Again, they can't just show anecdotal data. Here's what a lot of them will do. Rather than show you double-blind placebo-controlled studies or just even observational studies from the medical literature, they'll have 1,000 people and they'll give it to them, and 900 of them will say this stuff's bullshit. But the placebo effect is, let's say it's 10%. So then they'll have 100 people say, wow, yeah, I feel much better. And they'll have them do testimonials, and you'll have page after page after page of testimonials. If all they have is testimonial data, that ain't going to fly. I would be very suspicious.
Now, I guarantee you they're not all bad because I love Rodan & Fields. I think that's a great product.
I don't know what it is.
It's skin product.
Okay.
I mean, you sell it and then you get somebody else to
sell it.
Oh,
of course. No, the things that people sell, there's many of them are really good. I'm just talking about the typical place that's selling sort of these panaceas, as you talked about.
Yeah.
That treat this and that and the other, and the only evidence that they have is anecdotal, testimonials. Or they've got some really weak stuff. When they say, it's clinically proven, go look at the study and see if it really is.
Right.
Because many times it will be clinically proven in worms, like you talked about with taurine. I'll take it because it's an amino acid that we use that can't really hurt, unless the process that makes it is flawed, which is what happened with with tryptophan. Do you remember that? I had a few of those patients back in the 80s where they were taking L-tryptophan for sleep, and it turned out that the manufacturing process was incorrect, and they were taking something other than L-tryptophan, and it caused a condition called eosinophilic myositis with scleroderma. So they had the really thick skin, and they had immune problems and horrible muscle pain and stiffness, and it killed some people.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Golly.
And it was just one lot of tryptophan that caused the problem. So, I always buy my stuff from Now or Nature. Was it Nature Made? You like that
one?
I like they seem to be good. So, anyway.
I like them. All
right. Very interesting.
Yeah, so that concludes our time of topics.
Yay, thank you.
Great job.
It's Tacie's time of topics.
All right,
After
very
a really
good.
rough day, that's pretty...
I can't... Did you do that today?
No.
Okay. Phew.
No,
All right.
I did that this week.
All right. This
So
is
busy.
a question. Oh, we should probably play the disclaimer, though, first, right?
Number one thing, don't take advice from some asshole on the radio.
Thank you, Ronnie B. We're going to take a question from a really cool listener. Hang on.
Today's episode is brought to you by Angie. Angie has made it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get all your jobs and projects done well. Let me tell you, there's the version of it where you try to do something at home, and then there's a version of it where you have someone help you, you watch them do it the right way, and you go, thank God I didn't try to do that myself. I have fully done things around the home that I think look good, and then a bang in the night, and I wake up to a shelf collapsing, a painting falling off the wall. I've seen it all go south. I own a home, and I can tell you, I know how much work it can take. Whether it's everyday maintenance and repairs or making dream projects a reality, it can be hard just to know where to start. But now all you need to do is Angie that and find a skilled local pro who will deliver the quality and expertise you need. Whatever your home project, big or small, indoor or outdoor, you can Angie that and connect with skilled professionals to get the project done well. Right now, one of my wish lists is I want a bike for my condo in Milwaukee, and I would love to rig it up on a pulley in the ceiling because I have one of those like lofted ceilings, but I'm so scared to try that on my own. Angie has 20 years of home experience, and they've combined it with new tools to simplify the whole process. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app. Answer a few questions and Angie can handle the rest from start to finish, or help you compare quotes from multiple pros and connect instantly, which means you can take care of any home project in just a few taps. Because when it comes to getting the most out of your home, you can do this when you Angie that. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
This is what you do when you've just found that statement handbag on eBay and you want to build an entire wardrobe around it. You start selling to keep buying. Yep, on eBay. Over that all-black everything phase? List it and buy all the color. Feeling more vintage than ever? It's out with the new and in with the pre-loved. Next thing you know, you've refreshed your wardrobe basically without spending a dime. Yeah, eBay, the place to buy and sell new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion.
Introducing our biggest GMC Acadia ever. Offering bigger screens, bigger views, and even bigger journeys. Live your biggest life in the all-new GMC Acadia.
Hear that? Yeah, that's the sound of you relaxing, because now you're managing diabetes with the Freestyle Libre 3 system. You get to know your glucose levels and where it's headed. Manage your diabetes with more confidence with the Freestyle Libre 3 system. Ready to learn more about the #1 prescribed CGM in the U.S.? Visit freestylelibre.us to learn more. Based on retail sales data for patients' last filled prescription by manufacturer. Refer to the FLAIR NL4 study published in BMJ Open Diabetes Research and Care 2019. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
If you send hey, they send hey. But with opening moves on Bumble, you can get to better chats faster. Because if you send most underrated summer activity, they send eating spicy soup in front of the air conditioner on full blast. And that's something you can work with. You're still making the first move, but you can choose a question or write your own to get sent to all your matches. So you can relax and see what they come back with. Download Bumble and try it for yourself.
Hey, Dr. Steve. Hey, Dr. Scott. It's Darren from Illinois. When I was around 17 years old, I felt something hit me in the side of the head. Upon further investigation, I realized nothing hit me in the side of the head. Something popped out of my head. It was a giant ball of earwax.
Oh.
Bigger than a marble, smaller than a nickel in diameter. And it had hair in it.
Nice.
And
yummy.
The rest was just earwax.
Yeah. You pop it in your
Have you
mouth.
ever heard of anything like this? And what kind of pressure is there for that to be popped out of my head? Thanks. I'll hang up and take your answer off the air.
All right, my friend. Yeah, Scott, you want to talk about this one?
Not really.
Okay. Well, earwax is called cerumen, and it's basically a form of oil that gets thick, and it's secreted by cells in the ear canal to just sort of line it and protect it.
Right.
But it can build up over time. And if you get a big glob of this stuff in there. It can harden, and it can actually occlude it.
Yes.
And I don't know if it was a change in air pressure or if he popped his ears, and his tympanic membrane, the eardrum popped out, and it decreased the potential space between this bolus and the eardrum, and that caused the thing to pop out. Or if it was barometric pressure, because it would be under a certain pressure. If all of a sudden the outside pressure was lower than the inside pressure, it would pop out. Or if there was a roach that was in there that just said, I'm tired of being in here, and kicked it out. Or it just fell out, and it just was weird, and he felt like it popped out.
That's what I was going to say, because the tympanic membrane is so tight anyway, so it's not going to move much at all.
It won't. When you pop your ears, though, it will pop out. Right. And when you are on an airplane, for example, and you go up, it will pop. It will pop out toward the outside. And then when you go down, it will bend in toward the inside. So you want to yawn or chew gum going up, but on the way down, you want to blow. Occlude your nose, put your head forward, and blow against pressure, and it'll pop your ears back. But it's got to be fractions of a millimeter, though.
Yeah. It's almost like that thing had to fall out when it did to just create that vacuum, so it felt like it popped.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Because that's a hell of a lot of wax.
I think just when something falls out of your ear like that, it's going to feel weird. Your brain can't interpret it. And the hair is just from having hair. There's hair.
Hair, yeah.
So you're just gross, dude.
Yeah. Congratulations. That's something we did.
If that happened then, though, it's probably still happening. So you may want to get a thing called a murine ear kit. That's the old school way of doing it, where you put glycerin with hydrogen peroxide in it in your ears while you lay down with your bad ear up, and then watch an episode of Seinfeld. It's about 20, 30 minutes. And then you take a bulb syringe and you immerse it in warm water, fill it up, and then put your ear over the sink and then lavage out your ear. And you could do that once every 3 months just as a routine maintenance. I hate it when I go to the doctor and they look in my ear and go, okay, I got to get the curette out. And they got to gouge out disgusting earwax from my ear. So, yeah.
Do you remember that one time that all that stuff came out of your ear?
Out of my ear?
Yeah.
No.
You told me about it. You didn't let me see it, but you told me all about it.
What? What did I tell you? I do not remember
that it was a big wad of stuff and it had hair in it.
Well, okay, same thing. It was just probably a big bolus of wax. And people will come in and they can't hear. And they're very grateful when you look in there and say, well, it's earwax, and we have these big, giant silver syringes that we can usually get it out with 1 or 2 pumps. And they're very grateful because all of a sudden the pressure is gone and they can hear again.
Yeah, you were like, wow. I'm so gross.
I don't remember disgusting. That. I am gross.
I don't remember that.
You're not gross.
The human body is disgusting anyway. But
I don't shoot guns for gross people.
No, thank you. Well, anyway, they sell a spray bottle type lavage for the ear now. This is a relatively recent invention, it's not a new invention, but it's been brought to the market, and it's a little bit higher pressure and maybe a little more focused than the old school blue bulb syringe. So that's for people that really have it bad.
Yeah, this morning on the CBS Morning News, they actually had a brand new. Somebody had invented like a lavage for your ear.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like the navage?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, you have to kind of lean your ear over the sink and squeeze it in there. It looked pretty good.
Is it motorized?
Yeah.
Oh, so it is like a navage.
Very much like a
get
navage.
one of those,
They should call it an otage.
We'll do a contest to see who can get the most.
Yeah, that's cool. Is it on the market already? Because I'll buy one.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Just for routine care.
I'll pull it up.
You know how you women, before you go to the gynecologist, you kind of spruce up down there and stuff?
Or the or the GI. Like when I saw my GI after I did my procedure, he said
colonoscopy, you mean?
Yeah,
he saw your ass crack.
He said, I tell people, just don't do anything down there. It always looks better before than it does after. And I said, don't tell me that. I spent half an hour taking care of things down there before.
Ew, what did you take care of? You know what?
I don't know what I took care of,
don't
Steve.
wanna
I
know.
can't see it.
I don't want to know. It's fine.
I just
do not
shaved
wanna know.
just in case. I didn't feel any hair.
But you know how you guys do it. So you guys do that, take care of things in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And I will do that now with my ears before I get somebody looking at my ear. It's sort of the same thing.
Let's do that.
But Tacie is correct on the anus thing. Because if you do your colonoscopy, and I've told this story before, I won't tell the whole story, but I do my colonoscopies without anesthesia. Mm-hmm. And so you're laying down and you can see the screen that they're looking at. And right before the scope, because now you can see your ass, and then it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And there's your anus, and all of a sudden it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Always, it's filling up the whole screen right before the tube enters into the rectum, and you can see your disgusting, foldy, anus that filling up a 6-foot TV screen. That's the worst part about having a colonoscopy without anesthesia for me. The rest of it's a cakewalk after seeing that. And then I see the nurses and all that in the hospital, and I'm like, I know that's what they're thinking about when they see me and say hi.
Your hairy ass.
Yeah, just my giant, disgusting anus.
Love it.
Ugh. Anyway, all right.
Poor little boy.
Yeah, you know, bless it.
Hey, Dr. Steve.
Yeah.
Good. Thanks, man.
Oh, yeah. How's it going, man? Whatever.
So, I have a cannabis question, a THC
Excellent.
question.
Excellent.
I'm on medical marijuana now. I've since quit drinking.
Oh, good.
Because I said when marijuana became legal, I would, just stop drinking.
Okay. Well, someone who made themselves a promise and actually stuck to it. Good for them.
I don't know. I felt like it was better.
Yeah.
If the point is to get altered and get a little high or
whatever.
feel some kind of way, then I always thought that medical or marijuana rather was just a better way to do it, healthier anyway.
Okay.
But because I do primarily edibles, I don't smoke.
Yes.
And that gets processed through the liver. I was curious if there was any data on, obviously we know alcohol can damage the liver, and if you do it too much, if you drink it too much, or maybe even if you just drink it all, I think there's liver damage involved. But does THC that gets processed through the liver do the same thing? Can you just eat edibles every day, a couple times a day, and essentially be doing liver damage to yourself? Or is because of the way it gets processed, it's more like food or something
Great
like
question.
that? I don't know.
Great question.
Yeah. The liver is designed to detoxify things. The problem when you eat an edible, you're talking about 10 milligrams of THC.
Right.
At most. So, some people are insane and do 100, but, 2.5 to 10 milligrams. When you're drinking alcohol, it's just constant. It goes on for hours.
Yeah.
And it really stresses the liver a lot more. THC, if he's absolutely right, after oral consumption, it travels to the liver. Really, most of it's eliminated or metabolized. So the THC is changed into other molecules by this system called cytochrome P450, and they turn THC into 11-hydroxy tetrahydrocannabinol, which is psychoactive. Then the second time it goes through, it changes it into 11 carboxyl hydroxy tetrahydrocannabinol, and that is not psychoactive. So, 65% of it is excreted in the fecal matter, and then 20% in the urine, which is where we pick it up for urine drug screens, by the way. So, most of it's going to be gone in about 5 days, although for chronic users, it'll be there all the time. I will say this. I have never seen a single case of cirrhosis that was pegged at THC use. I've seen adverse effects from chronic THC use. Yep. Don't get me wrong. Yep. Cyclic vomiting syndrome being the worst that I've seen. And that's one where people use it all the time. And you'd say, well, THC is good for nausea and vomiting. Yeah, in intermittent doses, but if you take it every day. There are some people that just start puking on a cyclic basis, and it's horrendous. And if they stop ingesting THC, then it goes away. Yeah, it's bad. But anyway, okay, so that's really why. It's a difference. Taking a gummy is more like medicine to the liver because it peaks and then it's gone.
Right.
Whereas alcohol is just
wears it
on and on and on, and first pass, second pass, third pass. It takes a while for the liver to get rid of it, and then the alcohol is actually doing damage to the liver cells. So, all right. If I see something different about that, I mean, we can talk about adverse effects of marijuana, but cirrhosis isn't one of them. All right.
Yo, Big Steve.
Hey, man.
Bobby C.
What
Big
up?
Steve.
I was wondering.
That's my name.
I woke up the other day, well, more than a week ago, with limited strength and dexterity in my right arm.
Yeah.
It's been pretty persistent. I haven't done anything strenuous. I was wondering what could cause this. I've been sort of like flopping it around, slapping it about.
Yeah.
But still, just weird. My arm don't work no good.
It is weird, and I think I know what it is. Scott, you got any idea?
What do you say? He just woke up and
he woke up, and his right arm is floppy.
Yeah, it sounds like he's got a pretty severe pinched nerve, but no pain.
Right, but what is it, though?
Brachial plexus, possibly. Possibly.
You know what? You've not given any
it could be brachial
bells out
plexus
today
syndrome.
because you forgot about them.
No, I didn't forget
That's
about them.
exactly what happened.
I'm giving
He
them to
forgot
myself.
He's giving himself.
I'm giving internal bells to myself because I've been so awesome today. No, this is almost because people. This will happen to people, and if they have left arm weakness, and they're a young person, he sounds pretty young, and then it goes away, that can be a sign of a migraine. Some migraines will do that, but he's talking about floppy arm, and his wrist is floppy. I'm going to guess. I wish I had him on the phone. This is classic for a thing called Saturday night palsy, and Dr. Scott is correct. It is a neurologic problem, but it is caused by direct pressure onto the upper medial arm, or it can be the armpit, so that would be brachial plexus. So I'll give you
thyself a bell.
Give you part of a bell.
You know what? You can go screw.
It's you get to give yourself
you know what?
one,
I
but
shoot guns for you.
Yep. Okay. You know what?
Hearken to thine inner voice and give thyself a bell.
She gets a full bell. Yeah, I'll see it.
You're right.
I get you.
Right.
Yeah, you do
Anyway,
get it, don't you?
This is a compressive neuropathy.
Right.
The weird thing is that the hand will not work when the wrist is fully flexed.
Gotcha.
You can't. You lose dexterity. So what they'll have you do is they put you into a brace where the wrist is extended, and at least you can still use your fingers, and then you can use your arm.
For how long do you have to wear the brace?
It can be anywhere from a couple of days to a couple of weeks usually.
Really?
Now you do need to see somebody to make sure that they're making the diagnosis, but correctly, and there are some tests that they can do to confirm it. Particularly electromyogram and nerve conduction velocity. But it's generally a clinical diagnosis, and it's almost always, well, it is always, the person wakes up and they fell asleep with their arm over their head on a chair and they were drunk, or they fell asleep and they laid with their head on their arm and they were drunk. It's almost always they were intoxicated, or it could be a prolonged nod from opioids or something like that, but they slept on it.
How can I not have had that yet?
Well, you always go to bed. I've never seen you pass out anywhere but in the bed. So you always go to bed and then you pass out drunk. I've never seen
not
you
on
like
the kitchen
pass out,
table or
on the kitchen table or something. Except the time when we were in New Orleans and you passed out in Patoots listening to Jimmy Thibodeau.
That was really bad.
With your head on the table, and I'm
but there were many more things bad that happened that night, and that was the.
Have we ever
least
told that
of it.
story on this show?
No, but we don't need to.
Oh my God!
Let's just move along.
It was
Next
the
question.
greatest.
People like the questions best.
Yes, of course they do. The problem is we were just about out of time. So what I want this guy to do is go see somebody and make sure that that's what it is. And the problem is that phone call came in September. And this is what, June?
Not September.
So
Way to go, Steve.
If you have an emergency, don't call and leave a voicemail for us. I mean, you can, but then call 911 or call your primary care. Make sure you get it taken care of. I hope he's okay.
Oh, I mean, I hope he still doesn't have
I texted
floppy
him.
arm.
I texted him.
Okay.
Yeah, God, dude, I've been waiting for you for the last 9 months. Hey, Dr. Scott, before we go, Diesel Child had a question.
Okay.
And they said if you take Viagra, which is a vasodilator, and you take caffeine, which is a vasoconstrictor, do they cancel each other out? And the answer is it really doesn't work that way. Number one, sildenafil, the active ingredient in Viagra, is a phosphodiesterase 5 inhibitor. When basically what it does, it decreases the function of an enzyme that results in an increase in nitric oxide. And its substrate is arginine.
Okay.
So the nitric oxide increases, and you get increased blood flow in certain places of the body. One is the pulmonary artery, so it decreases pulmonary hypertension. I will use it for that for people who have high blood pressure in the
lungs,
the vessel going from the heart to the lungs.
Right.
And that's a problem. When the blood pressure is too high, you get right heart failure because the right heart isn't designed to push hard against a lot of pressure. And then it will increase blood flow in the muscles. So that's why people like to use arginine for weightlifting and stuff. They'll pre-treat themselves with arginine.
Gotcha.
In the hopes that they'll increase the nitric oxide, increase blood flow to the muscles while they're working them out. And then the other place it does it is the jungle region, the good old male membership. It will increase blood flow to the penis and decrease outflow. And so what you end up with is an erection. Whereas before you might have had half one or none at all. Now, caffeine is, if anything, a very weak vasoconstrictor, and it kind of has more systemic effects. So you can drink coffee and take sildenafil at the same time because the sildenafil's effect on those areas that it has effect is much more pronounced than any effect that caffeine would have.
Take a hell of a lot of caffeine to offset that.
Okay, so there's that one. That's a good question. What else you got?
Well, I've got a great one from Donna Bell.
Donna Bell?
No, Donna Bell. When you lose weight, where does it go? Do you pee it out? Do you breathe it out? So that's a good question.
So you can lose weight by taking Lasix. A diuretic, and just
the water.
Pee out a bunch of fluid, and you'll lose weight. But what we really want to do, right, is we want to re-sculpt our body and lose fat. So the process of breaking down fat is called lipolysis, and the fat cells in your body will first shrink,
right?
So they get smaller because they're storage cells, right? And then they will eventually, involute if they're not needed. So what happens is, and I've noticed this, when I am losing fat because I'm on a low carbohydrate diet, I tend to notice that I'm peeing out. I have more urine output.
Okay.
And so the weight, quote unquote weight, is excreted as byproducts of the use of fat cells to create energy.
Right.
Because that's what they're there for.
Right.
It's just like a squirrel socking away nuts. And for the wintertime, the body squirrels away energy in the
fat cells.
Right, in the form of fat cells. Yes. Now, there's another place where it stores it as well, which is carbohydrate chains. And it's called glycogen. And then glycogen is stored in the liver and in the muscle tissue. And if you take in no carbohydrates, glycogen will be used first to create energy because it's readily available. And when you hear of people who are marathon runners that hit the wall, that's because they've run out of glycogen. That's why those people, not archers, Kirk. Not gamblers don't need to carb load, but people need to carb load if they are at risk of running out of glycogen in whatever activity they're doing. And when they hit the wall, it means that they're going from a glycogen-type metabolism to all of a sudden they're having to break down proteins in their muscles and fat cells as quickly as they possibly can. And it's very difficult to do. So you have to condition yourself to be able to store more glycogen. Well, anyway, but I noticed that when I'm on a low-carb diet and I deplete my body of glycogen and I start into the ketosis, which is really what it's saying is there's lipolysis going on. Mm-hmm. You're breaking down fats to make energy. That a lot of that is excreted in the urine. The byproducts of that. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Fabulous.
That's my hypothesis anyway. That's sort of my policy.
Well, I know when I lose weight, when I weigh myself the next morning after I've peed a lot, I have lost a significant amount of weight.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because with women, you can gain and lose 4 pounds in a day. It's ridiculous.
There is another place. And did they say lungs? Did they say?
She asked if you breathe it out. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now I'm going to have to give her a bell for that.
Give thyself a bell.
I believe that's the first.
I think Sean's got a couple.
So the water is one of the sources of quote unquote weight loss when you break down fat. Mm-hmm. One of the ways that the body gets rid of the stuff. But apparently the lungs are the primary excretory organ for fat. You excrete tons of carbon dioxide because it's carbon dioxide and water are the byproducts.
Gotcha.
The ketone bodies are sort of intermediate bodies when you're trying to break down fat to make energy. And it's interesting, if you get little kids, can go into ketosis really fast. You get a kid with like a gastroenteritis where they haven't eaten for 12 hours or something, they'll have ketones in their urine because they go very quickly to a fat metabolism to maintain their energy. Pretty neat.
Good stuff, Dr. Steve.
All right. Well, listen, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Always go to Dr. Scott and to Tacie and to everyone in the Fluid family. The Fluid family are folks that listen to us and watch us sort of live on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@weirdmedicine. You just follow our Twitter @weirdmedicine or subscribe and like the channel, but if you subscribe and turn on the notifications, it'll tell you when we go live. It's usually Saturday afternoon. We try to do it at 1, but today we had a really fun activity. And
it's also becoming summertime, so 1 o'clock is kind of...
Yeah, and maybe what we ought to do is do it in the evening when it's cooler up here anyway. Give us something to do.
No,
because you'll be shit-faced.
Liquored up.
Because, of course, you have to, right? But listen to our Sirius XM show on the Faction Talk channel, Sirius Channel 103, Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern on demand, and other times at Jim McClure's pleasure. Many thanks to our listeners whose voicemail and topic ideas make this job very easy. Go to our website at drsteve.com for schedules, podcasts, and other crap. Until next time, check your stupid nuts for lumps. Quit smoking, get off your asses, and get some exercise. We'll see you in 1 week for the next edition of Weird
Goodbye,
Medicine.
everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
See you.